Greetings, everyone. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, and loving life. Okay, got that taken care of. My apologies. We are starting a little early. I'm going to try this out, be a few minutes early to try to let people gather in a little bit. And while we're waiting, please feel free to chat among yourselves, post some questions, whatever. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And if you're on Hecklebus, get over to El Perro and do that. If you're on El Perro, get over to Hecklebus, hit that like, share, and subscribe. You'll see in the details section, there's a couple PayPal links for anybody that wants to share some love. Please feel free to do that. Could always use some help. Until I get this all sorted out with them, I'm still being demanded to carry money and things like that. So, but like I said, it's all about the routing. And that's what I'm doing here is trying to show people the connection between the two ledgers and where it exists. And we're going to hopefully show a little bit of that tonight in how the Postal Service operates as it relates to the two jurisdictions, a titled jurisdiction and an equity jurisdiction. And that is in all of their codes, statutes, rules, and regulations and everything, those are known to be or not to be. They are known to be equitable. So you're able to pull equity out of them if you know what you're doing. And that's because you put data elements into a system that gave that system credence. That's the credit. Everything it gets from you. You are, in fact, the creditor. And we're going to go over that tonight. And then, and I'm going to use one code to show you, one verse and one code. And hopefully it's comprehensible enough in simple language, plain language, that everybody should be able to comprehend this. So we'll do that first. And then we're going to go over the redress program as it relates to the address. Because again, that's the whole issue, is the address that everybody's using as claim of a resident means that you're operating domestically. And like I've been trying to explain to these people down at the post office, I am not domestic. I am international. I'm not domestic and I'm not foreign. I am international, which is foreign to their domestic things. And when it comes to foreign and international, the distinction is that foreign has to do with one country. So the foreign element, as it relates to United States, because United States is considered to be one nation, one country. But in that United States Postal Service deals with international venue, period. That is the international venue. So again, that international venue in its judicial element is a revenue through the post office by use of the address. And now it becomes a revenue into the domestic by use of that address as a resident. And that's the only thing you've got to fix, is clearing up that matter. And that's because of the enumeration. And like I said yesterday, it's about the recovery of the estate and everything. And I've got a nice little packet drawn up in regards to that for the mayor, so we can go over it. It's an estate recovery program from Health and Human Services. And this is required in every state. Again, I urge you to look it up and start doing your research on it. My mom worked at the Social Security Administration for 29 years, 27, 29 years, something like that. And she doesn't know the first thing about any of this. And that's what I'm finding across the board. These people don't know anything about it because they're just doing their job. And their job isn't to educate themselves. They were done educating themselves when they walked out of high school. That's the sadness of it. So we really have to get into this. So again, I urge everybody, feel free to make comments or whatever. And we're going to go ahead and get started with this as we talk about that credit card. Where does credit come from, folks? See, this is the cognitive dissonance that I talk about when people profess things, but they can't tell you where they find them. So this is 15 U.S. Code 1602, definitions and rules of construction. Now, 15 U.S. Code is international trade and commerce. International trade and commerce. And that is a trust operation. That's why in 15 U.S.C. 1, we talk about it, it discusses the Clayton antitrust laws. And we've already gone over that in the previous videos. Also, I did a series of 43 videos on the master trust, reconciling the master trust. In my videos, there's a playlist of reconciling the master trust, 43 videos, and I went in depth on that master trust and reconciling that. And when it is, that Social Security card has two sides. One side is the administrative side, the other is the judicial side, one being public and the other being private. Judicial determinations are made by the private individual that's extending the data elements known as credits. On the administrative side, it's being placed as a liability. That Social Security number is used as an obligor through a conversion, noting that it's an obligation, a liability. When that's blatantly false, you are not, in fact, a resident or a United States citizen unless very specific details have been completed in that process to qualify you as a federal official or agent, a state official or agent, or a municipal official or agent. Notice it doesn't say county. Think about these things and start asking questions of yourself. I don't want you to believe me. I don't want you to believe your neighbor. I don't want you to believe your mother. I don't want you to believe the government. I want you to do your research so you know. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So in the trust code, they define it as international trade and commerce. But internationally, you're using the Postal Service as the trustee. Domestically, you're using the Postal Service as a trustee. The trustee is the one that's converting things. So let's look at this. The term credit card means the right granted by a creditor to a debtor to defer payment of debt or to incur debt and defer its payment. To a debtor to defer payment or of a debt. Okay? The term credit card under L, 15 U.S.C. 1602 L. The term credit card means any card, plate, coupon book, or other credit device existing for the purpose of obtaining money, property, labor, or services on credit. So money itself is an equivalent to credit. Property itself is equivalent to credit. Labor itself is equivalent to credit. Services themselves are equivalent to credit. The term accepted credit card means any credit card which the cardholder has requested and received, or has signed, or has used, or authorized another to use for the purpose of obtaining money, property, labor, or services on credit. Did you know that the Social Security Administration authorized you a card, which is a credit device, which means it is a credit card? It is that simple. The license plate on your car is a plate that was issued and authorized you. Coupon book, that coupon at the bottom of the statement of services, proving that there were services provided, where somebody labored on some property for money. And it was all done on credit. You guys catching on? I don't know what you're talking about on this channel. This channel is El Perro or Hecklebus CIA. And I'll take a minute to greet everybody. I only see the three of you down there. It says 14. So that's a reminder. If you're on Facebook, come on over to El Perro or Hecklebus on YouTube. You can join the chat there, and the link is pinned to hop up and join the panel. So feel free. So welcome, Discog, Bohydrus, and the CIA. Greetings. So let's get on to the next one. Now, I've told you before about the Traveler Redress Program. It's the Homeland Security Redress Program. Article 1, section, or Article 1 of the Constitution, right to redress the government for grievances. So who do you contact to redress the government for your grievances? It's Homeland. Homeland Security. Because all your life, you've been placating that you're a resident. And I assure you again, that's wrong. Before we go any further, I'm going to show something else here. Guess I got to shut this down. Okay. I'm going to start out with the epitome. Is it not showing it? No, it's showing it. Okay. The epitome of ironic is an attorney saying we need to be consistent in language. And as I've said, I don't know how many people I've talked to over the days, over the weeks here, the last 2 months, trying to get this stuff taken care of so I can finally move forward with that Lord's release in the estate recovery. And it's across the board, folks. Across the board, people are not consistent in their language. They are doing nothing but babbling. And when I try to correct their language, they get upset, call me a sovereign citizen, call the police, and make a false record of it. I'm sick of it. This is a comment I made on Artie's corporate fiction. And he loved my comment, so I had to make a note of it. Because Artie's corporate fiction is one of those people that doesn't speak correctly either. I mean, he's doing a great job. He's trying to do everything. And he seems to have an earnest heart to try to make sure he's doing it right. So I kind of like the guy. But it says, obtaining competent counsel. And this is where I destroyed him in comments on my video. I can't remember what video it was. But if you go back through my videos, somewhere you're going to find Artie's Corporate Fiction was commenting on my videos, and everything he said, I totally rebutted with the law as they state it, which is the letter of the law. Okay. And the letter of the law generally is in plain language. And this is why I say I have a hard time with people that can't understand the plain language, because it is consistent. So they're the ones that need to learn how to be consistent with the language, not me. And like I said, he's a nice guy, and he's got some good communication, but it's not the greatest. But once I shut him down on that with reason and logic, he no longer seeks out questioning me. And that's why I think he's, you know, I don't know if he's really after in earnest for everything. He seems to be, but simply because when he comes across somebody like myself with honest questions and the legal logic and reason that kind of rebuts the idiocy that's out there, I have a hard time. And so I say I appreciate that for the fact itself, but I also wish you would communicate more so you can see more. So when he shuts down and doesn't want to respond to me or communicate with me anymore, it's kind of like I see him as putting blinders on. Because I'm one of the few that no longer deals with the administration and securitization, but rather the custom judicial elements that are supplemental to the internal process and its record. And that's why I say you're involved in a process, and you've been that way all your life, just like I was, of entering data elements into their system that gives it credence, but then they're not returning that credit to you. That's what circulation is. It's supposed to go out and come back. So when you give data elements, those are creditable elements, and they're not giving you credit back in exchange. I have communications with the post office and postmaster on the international levels. And so when I try to communicate with this local government, the domestic government, from my international perspective, and they insist that I can't send it international mail, that's denial of an international customer to use the international service that he's required to have. Presumption is that I'm a resident, yet the record will reflect that no such resident determination is or has been, nor will be, deemed necessary in accordance with the legislated law. See 19 U.S.C. 81O. In that, note that one needs a federal, state, or municipal authorization first. Okay, so when you give them data elements and they say that you are authorized, that means those data elements have credit. You extended creditable data elements. If one has not been in communication, then the presumption of residency exists. So even if you don't create the birth certificate, the presumption of residency exists merely by use of the address. You were taught in school to use a standard domestic addressing format, indoctrinating you into believing that you live in the United States. So when you ask a postal service worker if we're in the United States, and he says yes, you can determine for yourself that he's a babbling idiot and doesn't know plain language. It clearly says UCC for commercial transactions, 9-307. Under a definition of debtor, the location of the United States as that defined debtor is in Washington, D.C. So if you think that you are on Iowa land and you live in the United States, you are confused. In the plain language, you are confused. Because that would be a false presumption. I believe around 95% of the cases, 95% of the people out there, I believe the record will show statistically that they are false. They are not, in fact, a resident. I may be wrong, but one claiming to be such a resident and found not to be so, in fact, can be charged and found guilty of issuing false securities. I think it's very plain. So again, the link is down there for anybody who wants to come join the panel. We're going to get back on with this Homeland Redress program. And of course, you notice again up on the thing, it's got a lock saying that it is in fact a government site. When should I use DHS TRIP? Traveler Redress Inquiry Program. DHS TRIP can assist in resolving travel related issues. Notice the hyphen. Remember what we went over transit the other night, and it included travel. Tra as in tribunal, trust, TRU, TRE, TRA, TRO. They all indicate the same thing. Three elements. Vel being Dutch for water. Well. The trust is well. My trust is in God, our Lord. And the Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. So I don't need a license to travel. I don't need a passport to travel. The passport is in the scripture. 1, 2, 3. The international passport is in the scripture. The national passport is through Department of Homeland Security. You get it through the post office. Your driver's license, you get it at the DOT, Department of Transportation. You know who regulates the Department of Transportation? Postal Service. You know, there's a branch within, or a department within the Transportation Department that's known as the Federal Transit Authority. You were unable to print a boarding pass from an airline ticket kiosk or from the internet. You were delayed or denied boarding an aircraft. The airline ticket agent informed you that the federal government was not authorizing you to travel. Really? That would mean they'd have to take away that birth registration. And when you take away that birth registration, goodness. See, what they're saying is you don't have credit. Okay? So dismiss the birth registration and the credit line that's extended from them. Where's the credit come from them? It still comes from you, your labor, your services, your work. And my work and efforts in educating these people is itself credit. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, Word was God. You are repeatedly referred for secondary screening when clearing U.S. Customs or were denied entry into the United States. So in my documents that I need to communicate with the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve located at 475 L'Enfant Plaza Southwest, Washington, D.C., 200204. Excuse me, are you denying the entry of my documents into the United States? Are you making a legal determination superseding your capacity as a trustee because you are making a legal determination that it's domestic mail because it's going to the Washington, D.C. that you say is in the United States and that I'm in the United States and therefore it has to be domestic when I clearly told you I'm not a United States citizen nor a resident? So it is a matter of redress. Now that's just the facts page, and all four of these links are in the details section down there. This is just the facts page, or the first one was. This here is another information page on applying for the DHS Traveler Redress Program. It says the DHS Traveler Redress Inquiry Program can provide resolution to travelers with difficulties getting through security and inspection at an airport, at airport checkpoints, train stations, when crossing U.S. borders. Again, U.S. borders can't exist if the United States itself is nothing but the paperwork. So the U.S. border is still just in the fictional realm. The no-fly list is a small subset of U.S. government terrorist screening database, also known as the terrorist watch list. So when they refuse to allow you to fly or travel, inquire about that. Because if you're trying to screen me as if though I'm some kind of terrorist, I'll let you know that can't be so. That contains identity information of known or suspected terrorists. I'm not a known terrorist, but I could be suspected as a terrorist. But that suspicion would be wrong. This database is maintained by FBI's Terrorist Screening Center. For more information about the Terrorist Screening Database, visit the Terrorist Screening Center. TSA is among the government agencies, therefore an agent, that screens individuals using information from the Terrorist Screening Database. So if I'm not using the information, they have no reason to be screening me. TSA is the U.S. government agency that screens individuals using information from the terrorist screening database. So if I'm not using information from the terrorist screening database, then why are you trying to screen me? It's plain writing. I'm not using your database. I'm using the knowledge that I have up in my head. And it says your database is in error. TSA implements. That term implement is very important. It's like implying under 48 CFR 52.212, contract terms and conditions required to implement statutes, executive orders, commercial items, commercial products. Implements the no-fly list through its secure flight program. That's a security process. And they need a signature to create a security. If you're not a federal, state, or municipal officer or agent, I do not believe you're supposed to be signing those things, because that's the creation of a security instrument, and you're passing it on as if though you're a Series 7 broker without a license to do so. That's a felony. That's a felony. Let's take a look at the next one. The next one, again, that was a informational page. This here is another informational page about the redress control numbers. And again, it's another locked padlock lock site. It says the redress control number, redress number, is a unique 7-digit identifier. Again, The number is the identification. See? Unique 7-digit identifier. And again, remember we went over the definition of key as it relates to postal terms is to press numbered keys or other identifiers. So we know the numbers are identifiers. The other keys with the letters, those are identifiers. And along with that, under 20 CFR 422.103, it tells us that the name and number identify the record. Again, it's their record that is wrong because of the address, and it needs to be redressed. And it's issued by the Transportation Security Administration. So it corrects the administrative record of securities in transportation, clarifying that you're using freedom of transit. TSA Secure Flight Program to match travelers with the results of their redress case through the DHS TRIP program. Secure Flight is a behind-the-scenes program that streamlines the watch list matching process. Airlines have modified their reservation system as part of the Secure Flight program. This improves the travel experience for all passengers, including those who have been misidentified in the past. The driver's license is a misidentification. A job application, a misidentification. Social Security card, a misidentification. Period. And all you have to do is fix the identification and its placement. It doesn't belong to you. It belongs in the record. And while being in that record, it's not an address anymore. You have to redress it to a different location standard, a different location format. The next one. This page here is the one that you actually apply through. Log into DHS TRIP portal, Travel Redress Inquiry Program. All you got to do, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, all the way down. International travelers, domestic travelers. You pick. But you better know what is what. And I'm telling you, you have to be a federal, state, or municipal officer or agent whose resident presence is deemed necessary by the board, and the board is the Secretary of Commerce as the executive chair and the Secretary of State as the other chair. If you're going to be domestic, that means domesticated. That means trained. That means behaviorally modified. You have been domesticated. They modified your behavior. Greetings, Life Care Angel. How you doing tonight?
Greetings, greetings. Thank you. And good to see you and to be here with you. This is the first. Thank you. I've been with you before, but it was just not this close. Thank you. Good to see you.
Always good to get closer and closer to each other. This is how we bring peace to the world, is showing that we can get together in peaceful organizations.
Indeed. So, thank you. Yes. Appreciate you, everything you do.
So do you have any specific issues that are going on with you that, and I don't care what kind of issue it is, I'm going to show you how it relates to the post office and your right to travel or freedom of transit that's guaranteed throughout the entire territory of the Union.
Even if it's a mortgage issue?
Absolutely. The mortgage issue is a mortgage insurance that's held by the Postal Service, the judicial office. They're the ones with the real estate investment trust, not the United States. The United States is the carrier of that mortgage for its domestic inhabitants that are taking advantage of that, but the loan system,
Mm-hmm.
bank loans and stuff. That's all internal, and that's you're not supposed to be part of that. Again, when you have a title that's being held in an administrative office and it doesn't have that $10 capital transfer stamp on it, then it shows a false record because a title is supposed to be held by the trustee,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and the trustee is the registered agent. In the case of all fiat paperwork of the United States, there's a contract between the post office and the treasury for the conversions from international monies to domestic money. That's why the post office has that scale, and they use it to weigh silver and coin and silver and gold as well. That's the exchange rates. That's the rates, the rations. It's military. It's all military terms. And like I said, the post office, every last one of them are inland marine installations.
Mm-hmm.
That's known and in a public document. And just because they don't know it doesn't mean squat to me. They're supposed to know it.
This is true, but of course they don't train them in that way. But then when it comes to someone like us, and they're throwing you in court, and you've went in, and for me, they've ignored a lot of different things that happen. And I am actually was looking for who would be responsible, for the note and all of that. A lot of times that's how a lot of people guide you toward that way.
Well, yeah, there's
And
two people that have equity in the property as far as it goes. When we talked earlier about this, the statute, codes, and rules and regulations are equitable,
mhm,
whereas you hold equity title in all cases because
mhm,
that equity title is use or possession and use, which is 9/10 of the law. The legal title is 1/10 of the law, and that's for entry and control.
mm,
So if they're holding a administrative title down at the local county registrar for that property, it means that anybody in that administrative branch has entry and control. So they can send the police to your door and they have entry and control. It's not
Well,
until that title is placed in the correct office, which is the judicial office, which is the post office, and expenses are incidental to transfer title to the Postal Service. 39 CFR 777.33. And that tells me that that's exactly where that title goes, and they know it. And once you put that $10 transfer stamp on it, what you've done is you bought a $10 stamp from the Postal Service.
I got my stamp because you know what? This is
And now
interesting.
you've given them equal consideration by buying one of their stamps, and then you're going to give the title to them for that equal consideration of possession and use. Now they maintain control and entry, and that's exclusive jurisdiction.
Okay, so you're saying I did wrong by buying the $10 stamp.
No, you did right. You buy the $10 stamp, you put that sucker up on the top right, you flip that thing over, you put a 2-cent stamp on the bottom right, you cross sign date it, and put your social security number on there, and boom.
Okay. All right. I just know it seemed like something might be missing. So I do that on the new title. Do I transfer it to the trust at this time and even
You
before
put
I
it in
have
the
it in the
trust name, and you transfer it with that stamp to the Postal Service.
transfer it to the Postal Service.
Right. Expenses incidental to transfer of title to the Postal Service. It's not a transaction. It's not a monetary transaction. The monetary transaction occurred when you bought the stamp. Now you put the stamp on the document. Now you transfer it by giving it back. And that's
And
expense incidental.
and expensive incidental. And I can read more about this 39 CFR 777.33. Correct?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And that goes along. Like I said, it all stems from the enumeration at birth, wherein all of your bank accounts, public records are established, school, employment, fines, fees, and penalties through the court, taxes, all of it. And so what you do, those are all documents of title because they're going to have a title on them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's expenses incidental to transfer of title to the agency. And that is 49 CFR 24.602, or excuse me, 0.106.
Mm-hmm.
Expenses incidental to transfer of title to the agency. And this is the transportation department, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's that driver's license. You have to use Social Security number to get that driver's license. That driver's license you have to have so you can get a job and pay taxes and all that. You have to have that so you can go to college and get a higher education. You have to have that so you can get a college degree and then put that nice certificate on your wall and get a license under that certificate so you can run a business.
Mm-hmm.
Every last one of them. So what it is you gather all of those up and you send them back to the agency. Who's the agency? The Social Security Administration. How do we know that? Because the next one is 42 U.S. Code, not a codification. It's a codification, not the enforcement. And it is 42 U.S. Code 4653, and that's Social Security.
Mm-hmm.
Expenses incidental to transfer of title to the United States. So what you're doing is you're transferring the title up the chain of title of those that are supposed to hold it as foreign property custodians. And you're giving them directives to settle the accounts because they're in error, they're out of balance. So you have to balance them and send them up the chain. Once they're balanced through the United States and the estate is recovered and there's remainder, it's transferred, it's reverted back to the original owner through a merger under a new name. Because the old name's no good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very important that we take care of this stuff in an appropriate manner, and that's through education by comprehending what's going on.
That is true. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank
Greetings,
you.
brother.
Yep, anytime. Hey, do you happen to have that video you want to play? I got it to play, but it's sideways. Do you have it up?
My cameraman sucks.
He does. Tell him I said so.
I imagine he's a newbie, brother. He's probably shaking like a cat shitting razor blades in there.
Yeah. I loved how you sat there and you pointing at him and everything. You got riled up at certain points, and that's the way it is. And
Yeah,
I'm telling you, these
though.
bastards know what's going on.
Yeah, you can play it. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I might do that. We'll see. But
that's what people's going to have to do, man. They're just going to have to stand up to these folks and not let them, intimidate you.
Exactly, and that's what it is. I keep telling everybody, if you're living in fear, you're never going to go forth and do anything about it.
They got you whooped already.
You're going to start feeling that leg shake. You're going to want to run. That's that fight and flight.
And the more you do it, it'll be just as calm, cool, and collected.
Yep. And I told them down there today, I went back down there again today after they called the police on me.
They need that, what you're saying. I want to say they need what you're saying. Again, what I learned, and I'm sitting here where I've been studying for, and what happened was I ended up having to be I threw myself into it, right? I just threw myself into it. It was a different story when I went there. And there were so many different things that I didn't really know, my details. Like, for instance, number one, why am I in the court in the first place? I felt like I wasn't supposed to be there in the first place, so I never went in. And I asked for, I did Toronto, asked them for their oath of office, all of that. What I found is that I was in a totally wrong place to be speaking because I wasn't heard anything I was stating or saying. And so again, they're moving forward just ignoring. Just you could tell that the judge, my paper was superb in what I was, speaking in regards to what was going on, but it didn't matter. I actually was on a Zoom and I was downstairs, and what happened?
What happened?
We lost her. Yeah, I wondered about that. I heard her breaking up there.
Yeah.
Hope she comes back and finishes. But I want everybody to check out 5-Speed. Russ Combs here, our brother Russ Combs, doing a great job, diligent, and he's got a channel on here, 5-Speed. So go ahead and check out Russ Combs on 5-Speed on YouTube. You don't have a whole lot of videos up yet, do you?
Nah, this is like the 6th time, 7th time they've taken me down.
Yeah, see, and that's why I say, you know, when people really stand up for it and put out the videos that Russ is putting out, they really don't like that, because that's what's teaching people how to do it and be calm while they're doing it. When you see these First Amendment auditors and stuff out there, and they're doing audits on the Postal Service, and they call the local police, you can tell that that auditor doesn't know what he's doing either, because he allowed him to call the local police.
Yeah. Do you see that young lady? You see that young lady in the mayor's office when I was telling them what was going on, and she's like, "I know, but I need my job."
Exactly. That's the slavery that we're talking about. They're so indoctrinated that if you try to tell them the truth, it will destroy their life if they take that truth on, because they're used to living with all those materialistic things. And then if they start expressing the truth like you do, they lose their job, and the people that they used to work for start coming after them even more.
Well, see, when I went to Carrollton down there, and then I ended up getting a job, right, to help feed myself until I can continue to move forward. Well, then me speaking the truth, because I didn't shut the fuck up, guess what? You got $4 within 8 months, and then you get shit canned.
Yep. Yep.
Because they're all running on federal grants down there. They're all federal contractors working for the North American Stainless and them steel companies.
Yep.
And that's why I say trade zones.
And that's why I say it's all a conversion of exclusive jurisdiction to a domestic jurisdiction, so that they can have control and entry. Because if you're going to do something wrong according to their letter of the law, the municipal code, which is published by a municipal publishing company that interprets state statutes and stuff, that interpretation's in error, I guarantee you. Absolutely. That's that mayoral form of government. They're issuing securities instruments under the domestic laws of the municipal mayoral form of government, which is the state security laws known as blue sky laws. They're not the federal security laws, and that's the switch off. The post office is the federal securities situation. They have a Securities Exchange Commission agreement for that real estate investment trust. So the municipality is the one that named the street, and then the post office is the one that enumerated each building, needful places and buildings, so that the post office could express its exclusive jurisdiction to deliver mail to people that may be international people. And so if they come across somebody that has an address, they don't care whether it's domestic or international. All they're doing is their job. That's all they know. They don't know the difference between domestic and international and the way that's set up. So we have to learn it and teach it.
Were you stating that we should be domestic or international? I came in on that part.
International. You are always international. If you've been domesticated, that's the slavery. You've been enumerated at birth, and you take upon the number and the cards and everything that say you're the creditor, but they don't recognize that. So while you're using those cards and everything, you either have to learn how to express that you're the creditor, or dismiss the card and go through a redress program so that the credit is extended from the international level and they know it. That's why I say that transfer of title. The credits are already there. All you got to do is learn how to get that title moved to the right place, and the credits will transfer as well.
Do you do like a step-by-step, or how can I just, me and you, be one to know how to exactly be on the right, position?
I'm still learning everything myself, and once I get it completed.
You got a lot of it, because that blue sky, I was just reading about that last night, because I was looking at the securities and all that, and I said, blue sky, what is that? And now you here talking about blue sky.
Yeah, that's the conversion. They're taking the domestic state that actually has a nationality, but ceded it to the United States. And they're posing that they still have that nationality, and they don't. They're operating as a corporate entity. You cannot have a nationality.
Yes.
So It's very wicked that what they're doing, and
It is. It's
it's not
terrible.
that they know what they're doing. Again, they're caught up in the cognitive dissonance, and
Mhm.
some of them know, and most of them don't. And I'm telling you, probably
Mhm.
95% of them don't.
Yes, it's true.
So anyway, Life Care Angel, we lost your signal there, and you dropped out. If you care to
Ye-
finish, you were at the point
I'm
where you went
here.
downstairs.
Yes, I'm still here. I just came back on. It looks like I'm on twice. I'm not sure what's going on.
Well, you might be on both channels. You might have come on the other channel.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. I was just no, you actually was explaining to me about this, and I was wondering one other thing. When it comes to, because I'm really at the point where I got to make sure that sheriffs don't do what they're striving to do, and believe me, I'm here to help our people as well. So I stuck my head out here. I had two mortgages I was dealing with, but I had another partner on the other one, and they were just they were like you were saying, it stressed them out so bad that basically they had to go a different direction. So I helped them to, get with some people who basically start you back over. But I'm just gung ho with this one, and I'm just striving to try to stop them in their tracks at this point.
Yep,
So I did hear what you
absolutely.
said. Hmm. I did hear
So
what you said, and on that, what you were speaking on, putting the stamps on, because I bought the stamps. I've been getting a lot of information, bits and pieces, striving to put it together. That's what made me go and buy the $10 stamp. I do have the Stamp Act, been reading that and all of that. But what you just explained to me, I didn't quite. I don't think. I don't think I, thought of it in that way. Some kind of way. I guess I'll have to read these codes that you just gave me.
all right, Russ, we're having a hard time finding your channel, brother. You got a link you can put down in there? I'm going to see if I can look up myself real quick.
I'm on my phone, so I can't do anything up here on the panel. Let me see. I'll jump out and come back. You want me to do that?
Not necessarily. What's the whole title of your site?
I think it's just is it 5-speed dot? Or the whole thing is 005 speed, I believe.
005 speed.
Yes. 00005 speed.
Yep.
I've calmed myself way down. I've got work I need to do as well, as far as my whole attitude and my presentment. But hey, I ain't worried about that. At least I'm out beating the feet. So.
Well, let's see here. I've got this one. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay, folks, there you go. It is in the chat. Let me make sure it shows up on both channels. On Hecklebus, it's not coming up on my El Perro. So there it is for El Perro. And feel free to go over and subscribe. As you can see, he doesn't have many subs right now, but it's, what, channel 5 now?
6 or 7.
Yeah.
And
So,
on my way out at TikTok. So.
yeah, fuck TikTok anyway. So here we are. We're looking at. Remember, I said I did a series of 43 videos on reconciling the master trust account right here at Postal One sites, and Postal One is an online accounting, okay, and that's where the master trust exists because everything's converted to credit. It's an electronic book entry system, and this is who holds that system. Okay. Like I said, the postal route includes the internet. It's a postal route. Everything you post is routed, and that's a postal route. Who controls postal routes? The Postal Service and Post Office. So they're the ones that have the accounting, along with the FCC, Federal Communication Commission. Okay. Now it says here, effective immediately, Handbook F101, field accounting procedures, field being military. Remember yesterday we spoke about area. Same thing. It's a military term. Is revised with new procedure for reconciling master trust accounts for Postal One registered sites. Postal retail units. The Keithorn and Little FBU Trust is a postal retail unit. It's a business account for the trust that are interfaced with Postal One are no longer required to reconcile master trust accounts once a month. Instead, these sites will receive a narrow master trust exception report when there is an out of balance status for 3 consecutive days between Postal One and the general ledger. Okay. Again, the front side of the card is administration under the securities. The back side is the general ledger under judicial elements. International. Okay. The postmaster, unit manager, or designated employee must research and resolve. It's not up to me. I'm only giving you the education of how it's done. You have to do it. I've already done my part of the work. Now it requires equal consideration for you to do your part of the work. The out of balance master trust accounts upon receipt of a narrowcast master trust exception report. Additionally, a copy of the report with an annotation of the actions taken to resolve the difference must be retained with PS Form 1412. Daily financial report as supporting documentation. This is what they're refusing. They're refusing to do their job to research and resolve what they must. It's that simple. And it's their law. I do not know how to present it any clearer. But let me pull up my apologies for the shitty camera work, folks.
Yes, my brother sucks at videoing.
Okay. You'll have to pay. I got the volume up as high as I can get on my end. It is a little rough to hear, but it does get better. So please make sure you got your volumes all the way up, guys, on this.
I went to see my Massachusetts Yeah, I went to see Matt, and according to the preamble of the Universal Postal Union, they're there to communicate and collaborate with people in the world. By turning his back and walking away and not communicating with one of the people, that's it. That's a violation. That's international terrorism, and it's a violation of the preamble itself, where it says that they are there to communicate and collaborate with people in the world. And as you've already shown on the record multiple times, you're not here to collaborate with us. You're here to use us as an investment where you change the birth name and turn it into a firm name as an investor in your investments here in Carrollton. The gig's up. The gig is up, and all these guys that are going to fall that have been following you, every one of them are going to fall. You're going to go to the military courts, and you're going to be tried for your crimes in that time comes. And I tried to visit a brother of mine in fellowship over here at the detention center, and then they want to do a background check, which is a violation of your Fourth Amendment, right? And you guys are the ones administrating all of this. Because you promulgated that investment, your courts, along with the district courts, to change that last name to that firm name as an investor in this investment in this real property. The gig's up, man. The gig's up. And you know it.
Did you guys catch that? Like he said, it's an investment into real property, and it's done through the use of the address. You quit using that address in the standard format and use an international format to express the international forum, the international elements. And we'll be going over that here. We're about done. We're gonna finish up after this video, so we'll do it tomorrow. I might even do a couple in the afternoon, being Saturday. Like I said, I need to get this information out, so be watching for maybe an hour session here and there throughout the afternoon before I do tomorrow night's 8 o'clock session. So let's get back to it. And remember, you're operating as an investor, and that's the creditor. They know this.
I know you know it. You know why I know you know it? You ain't been there that long because you don't know it. You know exactly what you're doing, and you ain't did nothing really good for your future, your children's futures, that's for sure. Because once you're dead and gone, they're going to forget all about you, and your kids are going to have to deal with the same thing that all these people here in Carroll County, Kentucky have to deal with all these years under your leadership.
So what is it you need today?
And notice, people, he stood there while Russ was sitting there running that by him, and he was shaking his head in agreement. This man does know what he's doing in regards to those investments as a municipal bonder for the residents in his community. If he doesn't, he's incompetent. But he's standing there shaking his head that he knows.
Well, my whole intention has been to correct that record for me. I am no firm. I am the living. I am here by the grace of God for the breath that I took this morning, and I used that and I opened that account. When I opened my mouth, I opened that account in his name. You guys just converted that. The judge and the prosecutor convert that and hypothecate that name and take this man out of his agricultural presence of a creation from God for your benefit and your investment. That's human trafficking and that's international terrorism.
So what do you need?
Okay, so we found a problem with that link. 5-speed, it's taking, even though I took the link directly from your page, it's sending, that link is sending people to a racing page.
No shit. There's really.
Yep. So I dropped the link, the URL to this video, guys. So you should be able to click on this next link and go straight to this video, and then go down to the channel part and click on that, and it'll take you to his channel. My apologies for somebody else's bullshit. Thank you. That was Bohydrus mentioned that, I believe. Said they're going, that link takes them to a racing channel. And so I clicked on it. Sure enough, it's a racing channel. That's the link I copied from your site. So they are misdirecting people on your site to a racing channel, brother.
Well, that's a new level of shadow ban, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I would suggest changing the name. You get it? Name change.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
So find a new creative name, and if you have a problem, just let me know.
All right.
I'm just stating the record because, as I said, we're in talks with DC. So I just wanted to get it on for the record because I opened the account, right? That account that you guys opened within your record, in your administration, in your military administrative record is false and you don't want to correct it. There's the problem. I came to you guys in peace, in respect, in honor, and you guys turned your back on the people, but you took that oath to protect those people.
And he's absolutely correct. Again, like I said, he went in there and tried to correct his record, and they're denying him. Same thing they're doing to me. They cannot deny you to correct the record. That shows, in fact, that somebody did enter false data elements. If that was you, you have the right to do so. if it was them, you have a claim. Either way, the record must reflect accurately. They must research and resolve the issue. It is tied to the general ledger. No other way around it.
That was a lie. That was a bold-faced lie, and that's it. And I'll need your badge number for this. Badge number 11, thank you. Your chief is a good man. He's always been respectful, unlike Mr. Adams here.
And this is funny. Like I said, I watched this, and this is funny how this guy come in, and he had business with the mayor, but instead of walking by and dealing with it off camera, he kind of posed himself in a position in camera as if though he was going to, support his mayor, right? Like maybe it looks like this guy's giving the mayor a problem. So let me hang out here and just dissuade this gentleman by my presence.
That's an officer. The mayor's in the same office with the chief of police right there in the same building.
Yeah. Yeah, and he stopped when he had other business. And even though the business with the mayor, as a businessman myself, I would have just went off camera somewhere else and waited patiently. This guy stands in camera, letting you know he is there, and that's what they do. They pose intimidation.
They don't fucking scare me.
But of course, Mr. Adams is probably going to follow his plane right now because he sees what's going down. His soul is probably quivered a little bit for all the negative stuff that he's done behind people's back that they didn't know about. God talks about my people perish for their lack of knowledge, and you took advantage of that. Probably, let me guess, you were probably following Josephus, right? Another man's writing, right? See, that consciousness of that higher creation is in you. You just didn't want to bring it out.
So you're just letting them know this.
No, you already know it.
This is the purpose of today's visit.
To clear the record.
Okay.
So when it comes to head for you, it's already written. Your actions, you already acted them out. You didn't. I came to you with a very serious issue, right? And you just ignored it like it was no issue and I was dirt under your feet. And you're, in the eyes of this God that everybody believes in, you hold more credit than I do, right? That's what you said. Basically, right? That's what your actions stipulated, right? Like you're just a big God. I can't even understand you. You're less than me. You'll see if I'm less than you. And I can give you a respect. I didn't call these boys to try to make them act like devil dogs and be thugs because the man comes here being respectful. And I'll need a copy of this service call too. It's open. It's open, man.
What service call?
Because you called this gentleman in.
I came out that door, he had to go in that door.
That's not it. I was just going to the place of business where I work with.
Oh, okay. Well, you stood here, so I mean.
No, I didn't see it here.
Obviously, if you came in and you were here, it would assume that if I wasn't any part of your business, why wouldn't you have just walked on and took care of your business and not stood here and tried to intimidate me because this man dictates your job?
He's waiting to see me before I leave. I've got to talk to him about a different matter.
They don't know who they're dealing with, do they, Keith?
I said from day one to the judge and to Nick Marsh and the sheriff and everybody I spoke to, Rob, my job was not to get you guys in trouble. I came down here for you to correct the record and not use me as your little human trafficking ring anymore.
And my apologies, Damsel and everybody. The next link I put down there is the one. The other one was taking to my El Perro page for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but there you go. This is to his page. That link there should get you straight to his page. Again, my apologies.
As a taxpayer, you refuse to do that because you benefit from it. Now that's on you, my friend. But I didn't want to do this. I gave each and every one of you every opportunity that I could before I go to your higher ups. Because you can control that paperwork right here, but the possession and use is right here.
Absolute. The possession is use. They offered an instrument, gave it to you, and you get to possess it and use it and hand it back to them with the conditional terms explaining what the process is as you understand it. If there's a problem with it, the system will kick it out. But they have entry and control. But in that possession and use, you give it back to them. If they don't enter it, that is dishonor.
You can control it at this level, but you won't up there now. We're already in talks to them. Your record is already set. You're done. You're done.
I'm gonna speak with him about something different, and I've got another meeting.
I think you better watch what you take from this man, because this man he doesn't have no authority, so I'm going to say this to you. If you're following him, thinking he's giving you the right advice, you seek the counsel from that man, that higher creation, not this fool right here. You look like a young lad, my friend, and hey, this is all for your future kids that you're going to have, and your prosperity and abundance that this man has obviously been taking for a very long time, and you've been working for him instead of him working for you. Because he needs you, you don't need him. Right? I bet you that man wouldn't know the difference between a Phillips screwdriver and a flathead.
I loved it.
And then you're doing something good for the people around here. Mary, I did not want to do this to you, but it's done.
Wait, was that it? Was that it? Did he decline to fix it?
In DC,
Wait, was that it?
I got it wrote up, my communications was already started. The record, hey, as soon as you open that up, in the record, as soon as you open it up, it comes down here. You open that account. Now, was it a false account or was it a true account? Comes out of your mouth. Hey, that guy's a badass son of a bitch, isn't he, man? He's badass, but exactly he ain't man. When you can't control the record and put a bunch of guys like this around the guys that's worried about going over there to the cage. See, I ain't worried about going to the cage. You crucified me just like you folks did Jesus Christ. It's a big story, ain't it? And get what you
And it's a continuing story. Continuing throughout the annals of time. If you don't sacrifice yourself for your natural principles, you will live your life a slave to somebody else's principles.
folks done around here, these guys right here, along with this mayor, has made it real difficult for me to do the people's work around here. When they don't reside with the truth, they fire you. They make everything difficult for you for their benefit. That's it right there. They're allowed out. Now, you go back to the chief, and you guys took that guy down there on the bus ride. He got out of that because you guys all collaborated in your organized crime around here. And you take a man who's mental health and you drop him at a bus stop. And somehow you guys always manage to get by with stuff, but how many guys do you have got living on the side of the road? Nowhere near as much. And then you got a mayor and a chief of police in a town that's supposed to be there working for the people, takes a mentally unstable man and drops him off at a bus station in Louisville, Kentucky, an hour from here. What's your mental capacity, Mayor?
What's your mental capacity, Mayor? Love it. Put these people to the test. These are the people that are supposed to be tested, not you. If you're being tested, it's because you don't have the knowledge yet.
Hey, you know somebody,
and that's why you're supposed to test them. You're supposed to test their knowledge to make sure they're competent to lead the people appropriately. Go ahead, brother.
I just want you to know somebody's been paying attention, homie.
How so?
Where do you think I got a bunch of my shit from?
Yeah. You mean you? Yes, I know. You've been paying attention. You've been paying attention for the last 6 years. You've been paying attention to me the last 6 years, brother. I know.
That's right.
So yeah, it's slow but sure, but One day, like I said, Life Care Angel said that she feels closer to me tonight because she's able to get up on panel. And that's what it's about. Coming together and getting closer and closer in reality, according to the knowledge and the reality of the truth. Nothing else. And I want to say a real quick shout out to everybody: Eric Lieberman, Ken Heads, Bohydra, CIA, G Spot, Damsel Medic. Let's see. I thought I saw Steve in here, but I guess not. But I welcome everybody. I appreciate all your support. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button, folks. And let's finish up with this, and then we'll go across and see if anybody's got anything last thing to say tonight.
You know what's going on in the merit system, right? You know all about it. I don't have to tell you. Merit System Protection Board. Hey, you took me for a fool, man.
Can we get you anything else today?
I would like for you to correct the record and put the assets back to the way they had been set by the creation.
We'll do the best we can.
That's not good enough, because once I release.
Yep. We'll do the best we can. Ain't good enough. You are required to make us whole. You will do it, or you will lose your job and possibly end up in jail. Period. There is no more excuse. This is 2023. People have been at this long enough. It's not going to continue for decades anymore. Technology is helping people catch up. Please learn how to use it. It's to your advantage.
That paperwork, the value, that account I'm opening up.
I can't control what you do. If that's what you want to do, then
Do you realize that's international terrorism and that's a death penalty in the military courts?
whatever you want to do.
You got it there.
Whatever you want to do.
You got it. You might want to check on that. If you change your mind within 24 hours, call me, man.
Thank you.
Rob?
And notice he did not deny the military courts. Okay? He understands that those are military courts. Didn't deny it one bit.
No, and I don't for the life of me. I mean, he stood there with a pretty straight face.
Yeah. That's that narcissism. Okay?
Yeah.
People get in that position and they pull out this narcissism, but that narcissism is going to prove his Dunning-Kruger because he doesn't know what he thinks he should know. And it's people like you and I that are going to help show these people that they don't. It's very plain language.
You know, this town pushed me away, though, bro. You believe that shit? These locals pushed me out, bud.
Well, yeah, that's like I said. The gal at that counter says, I can't. I gotta keep my job. So if you get them interested to the point where they lose their job, you know.
Yeah.
So the best thing to do is just keep teaching about the accounting and how to correct it. So each one can teach one, and each one can correct their records, and that itself will help prevent them from losing those jobs because they'll be able to enter the job force in the correct capacity, stating that they're internationals. This is not an investment. This is for compensation. I'm providing my labors. I am the credit extension. Anything you get for credit in your system comes from me if I'm involved. I get that back. That is not your investment. So I want to thank Russ for coming up. Great video.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you keep doing it. Keep going at it, brother. I can only pray that it won't be a sacrificial event one day, and that you'll have complete success in being able to correct that record and show everybody else how to do it. Please pray for me in the same manner, because like I said, they're calling me sovereign citizen too, calling the police, and that's insanity. That's a mob rule. That's war. They want it. That's their personality. That's their ego. That's what we talked about on Paul's channel. You got to quit doing that.
Zero World said this Supreme Court justice. It's the spirit, not the form, that keeps justice alive.
Yep. And MJ Jeep Girl, welcome. Yes, that is 5-speed. 5-speed. That's Russell Combs. Welcome. Great man, and
Greetings,
doing a
everybody.
good job. NJ Jeep Girl does a lot of following of people like yourself and I, and she's up there with it as well. She kind of
Good.
seems to know what she's going on. I only see her in the chat, but from what I see, she knows what's going on too. So, and I believe she's got her own channel too.
I've heard of her. I've seen her around.
Yep. So think about this stuff, folks. And like last night, I came up at 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. There's a lot I want to go through, and it's just like the reconciling the master trust account. There's going to be plenty of videos. So, but every night at 8 o'clock, you can catch me. I'm going to do a video every night at 8 o'clock.
I'm going to try to be there, but Monday night, there's council meeting at the mayor.
That's your council meeting. Yep.
7 o'clock. So I'm going to go there 7 o'clock to that council meeting in Carrollton, Kentucky, and see if they let me in. Well,
if they don't, that's a needful place in building under exclusive jurisdiction. And if they're going to deny you, they have to have federal authority to do so. Just like in the Homeland Security redress, they have to have a no-fly or terrorist watch list or something like that that says already that they can deny you. They can't pose that public trespass on federal property according to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 8 and 17. Postal roads, where they use that address, and the needful building. Without those two elements, they'd have no place to meet.
Correct. Yeah. It should be interesting, to say the least, though.
Yeah, keep me informed as you always do, and we'll be glad to go over anything on the panel here. So, God bless you.
Absolutely. I'll be around. I'm going to start being around more often. Bank on it.
I hope so. I'd appreciate people like yourself up on my panel to help explain this and show how to work it. Okay. I don't do videos, guys. Mine is in the research and private communications, but we need people that are willing to do the public journaling. And this is called news. And why is it news? Because it's new information that we're providing. So don't ever let any news media placate that they have superiority over a independent journalist or something. No, the term news itself proves that they're false and you're true. That's the true elements. You're bringing new information. They're bringing propaganda.
Right.
So think about this stuff, folks. Thanks for joining me. God bless. I love you all. But remember, I don't give a fuck whether you love me back or not. You got to do what you got to do, and I hope you're blessed in doing it. We'll see you again next time. And remember, I'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock for sure. But watch for maybe very incidental videos in between. A lot of information to go over. So, again, God bless. We'll see you again next time.
And
Bye.
remember, popularity without a positive purpose is pointless.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. God bless everybody.
Peace.